Roll it in.
The podcast.
Welcome to Friday Night Thunder, the podcast. I'm your host, Derek Miller, with my co-host,
Glenn Styres, number 0.
Right on. So today we're going to talk about the series Friday Night Thunder, and we'll talk a little bit about ourselves and our connection to racing, and of course what's happening at Ohsweken Speedway. I used to hang out with Glenn's Uncle Jer, all the time, and we'd come hang out at the track, and then I start to see Glenn with all these computers watching readouts and everything. I'm like, what's going on here? And he's like, I'm just watching my lap times and stuff. So eventually I got into the car because I was like, I really want to get into this and see what's going on. So what happened, Glenn, with Ohsweken Speedway? When did it start?
I always had a childhood dream of building a racetrack. Never really realized how it was going to happen. But I remember always telling my buddies what I was going to do. And I never raced a car. I don't even know where that thought come from. And my buddies that I hung out with as a kid still tell me that they thought I was crazy and thought that was, full of baloney. But anyways, here we are today. I toured around to so many tracks in North America. I was planning on building an asphalt track, but I did a road trip. I was in Florida. I could hear this racing motors. So I left my window down. I cruised around trying to find out where this noise was coming from, and I kept going down all these streets, and I come upon this dirt track. And as soon as I seen that dirt track racing, the asphalt stuff was just gone out of my mind because it was so intense watching it. And from that point on, I was determined to build a racetrack. So that's what happened.
That's amazing, man. Eventually, when I got into sprint cars through you, I realized just how exciting and fast-paced. You see a lot of passing, and there's a lot of excitement, and it fits the times. Like, there's such a short attention span.
Yeah.
That these races are 30 laps, some of them, that are really fast, but there's a lot of action.
Yeah.
In those.
Yeah, what I say about sprint car racing, it isn't over till it's over. I mean, the third or fourth place car coming into the last lap, last corner can take the lead. Like, it's just absolutely fascinating. And dirt racing is just like that, 4 or 5 wide, and it ain't over until it's over.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
I tried so hard to get sponsorship, to get help, to get anything to build speedways. I was trying to get billboards up. I was trying everything, but I didn't have nothing, right? So it was really hard to convince people to give me money for a billboard when there wasn't really, there's 3 cars on a track, 15 people in the stands. It was a really, really, really rough start. I started a business to buy a grader. And then I started another business to buy a water truck, and started another business. And when I think back, I started all of these little businesses to make money to build a track. Little did I realize that once the track's built, that these businesses were going to grow too. Not realizing, like I was really, really not focusing on building a business. I was building it to build a speedway. And it's pretty amazing now. Like, everything's all paid for, and the businesses are still reaping the benefits from that. So I'm still expanding on a speedway where I can. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating how that come about.
Let's give a shout out to some of your partners. Like, who is involved with the speedway today?
So you got Case O'Neill's. They're probably one of the more important ones, because the track takes big equipment, right? It takes big tractors, big discs, big heavy equipment. I mean, to rip that track up, it takes thousands of horsepower. So with O'Neill's, connected me up with Case, doing such a big, I don't even know how to describe it, but you jump in one of those Case tractors, it's like jumping in a jet fighter. Like, those things are so state of the art and so pretty. Man, I just so thankful for them.
This segment brought to you by Case. Case Equipment. When you need to rip up a track, call Case.
Like, it just keeps growing and growing and just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And with this pandemic that's going on, and just like anything else, we took racing for granted. We just thought it was going to be there year after year after year. We never ever dreamt that something would get shut down like this. And so I got a feeling or a prediction that Ohsweken Speedway is going to take another leap because people are going to want to get out and about and catch up on all the stuff that they missed. I just got a feeling that we're going to be causing traffic jams. That's my prediction.
And hopefully we get loads of exposure from our TV series, Friday Night Thunder. For our listeners, we are looking at a clip from the show where you took me out on the track and schooled me on the Glenn Styres line.
Friday Night Thunder!
So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you where I go first,
Yeah.
right? So even if it's rough and choppy,
Up here?
I'm still up here. So what I like to do, I like to get as close to this wall as I can,
Okay.
right? And I'm ripping along, and I try to keep my car straight.
When I was going for information and asking you for advice, when you showed me the line, I think the next weekend I start taking that line and actually start making progress. So it was a really big deal for Glenn to take some time to show me what he was doing, all those years of experience that he has in the car. You don't discount that. And when he was showing me what was going on, I was really keen to learn.
And these cars, they first of all, they take time to learn how to drive, and then second of all, it takes time to learn how to set it up. And you need laps in order to learn these cars. So he wasn't making the show, he's not getting those laps. So I needed Derek just saying, just stay in there, just try to make the show so that you can get laps and just get comfortable in that car. And I wanted to take the time to try and explain to him what has to happen when you enter, right? And it took me, like just myself alone, it took me a year to try to enter at that height, at that speed. It's just like you're in a different postal code. Mm-hmm. And when you get it right, then it doesn't seem like you're moving. But when you're out of control, it seems like you're going really, really fast.
And it translates to iRacing too. When I was in the 305, you've got to be smooth, but the downforce isn't as much. When I got in a 360, little bit more reaction time, even less input, and the downforce was more in that. And when I went in the 410, even more horsepower downforce. So you start to understand what the air does to the car, what the setup's doing to the car, and if you're doing this in the car, that's no good.
What happens with a sprint car, when you go into the corner, it feels like you're loose in it, but you could be tight. So you shake the car loose, and then it goes straight, and then you shake it loose again. It causes you to seesaw, right? Whereas if the car was just free going in, then it would just keep rotating all the way around. You wouldn't have this feeling. So what Derek needed to learn was how to tighten that car up gradually, right? A lot of times that's the best guesser wins, right? So that's just going to take time.
The first thing about getting in the sprint car is wheelbarrowing your balls over to the car.
Yeah, and my biggest thing is I just want to race with my teammates, like to be hanging out and racing and traveling with them. Mm-hmm. And I know it's I'm at the tail end of my racing career, but I still want to have fun. Like I still want to go out, hang out, and I want to kick their butts.
Yeah, man. Still being out there racing a 700 horsepower machine is still a thrill. It's got to be amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I'm back in the gym. I'm back training again. So it's helping me stay focused on my health, right? Like, so I still want to get in there. Still want to kick some buns.
You got a couple checker flags left in you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Join us next week when we come back on Friday Night Thunder, the podcast, and discuss races are won in the shop. I'm Derek Miller with your co-host,
Glenn Styres, number 0.
For more information on the Friday Night Thunder television series and to find out how to watch it, check out our social media or go to our website.
Friday Night Thunder!
Perfect. I love it.